Good morning, Draft Bible Familia. This is DT out here in the place to be, happening to be Arizona right now, missing the RIC as always, sitting in the seat but never filling the shoes. Today we got Big Law, we got JM, John Murphy, the executive extraordinaire with us this morning. He's in rare form already, guys. I can't wait. The comedy coming out of the Louisiana area has been on point this morning. Big Law, how are you, though?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. I'm just excited to be here this Friday morning, getting ready for another football weekend. Of course, it kind of saddens me because it's winding down as well. You know, there's some basketball games too, so it kind of is like the sign of the times. You know, the football's winding down.
Yeah, you got some transfer into basketball season, some good matchups there. This weekend with football, it's a bit kind of hit or miss with so many cancellations, but we'll get into that a little bit. Good morning, Mr. Murphy. How are you this morning, sir?
Good. Pleasure.
Good. Let's get it on. It is Friday, baby. Football Friday here on Draft Bible's morning show, State of Football. Let's get going. We're going to lead this off really quick with tonight's game with one of John Murphy's heartthrobs and Ryan Roberts' heartthrobs, the Nevada versus the undefeated San Jose State. This is sort of chip to the championship game. I believe Nevada's got one loss. San Jose State is still undefeated, and this is for a chip to the game, the championship game. We got the leading quarterback there, Strong, somebody that I know you really like, John, a lot in this matchup. Can you feel the crowd into the rest of the opportunities to watch for here?
Yeah, so this is San Jose State at home with a chance to stay undefeated. That could be in terms of you're just thinking of the game itself. That might be the difference maker. Even without a home crowd, there is a little bit of a discernitive home field advantage. When San Jose State is playing in their stadium, so it would have been a really exciting game to see if they were able to have a full audience. On Nevada's side, it's primarily their offense. We mentioned Carson Strong is the other quarterback playing out west, that NFL scouts have had to figure out all of a sudden. First, you had BYU with Zach Wilson, and now you got Carson Strong. And the real thing is with him, no reason to, try to play around and say why you're interested in him is, his last name, is exactly what you're looking at when you look at his arm. His arm talent is what excites you. His arm talent is what drives you to go watch their games. And the biggest recipient of all that is our guy Romeo Dubs. I had fun with him calling him Dubs, but Dubs is getting it done on a weekly basis. His yard per catch, the vertical threat that he is, he's really put himself on the map. And if he were to be a guy that declares for this draft, probably will sneak into being a top 75 to 100 player, by time it's all over. On the flip side, this is Nick Starkel, right? We might remember way back at the beginning of his college career, heavily recruited to Texas A&M, has had some injuries, has bounced around, finds his way to San Jose State, and, well, here we are, in a big moment for them, playing in a game at home with a chance to stay undefeated. It seems like to me, like I said, I think for me in this game, if it was in Nevada, it's Nevada. It's in San Jose State. It's an even match game. I'm going to stick with the home team here and say San Jose State gets it done and moves on.
Really? I thought you would have came in and had the Nevada Sirens, having Big Law throw those sirens up early in the show. Ryan Roberts is in the chat room. He's already calling for the alarm to be going off because he's all about Strong. He's about this Nevada Wolfpack team. He thinks that they're going to come in and just smash the Spartans down there at home.
Yeah, so I guess in this case, and like with his mock drafts, he's a lone wolf.
Oh, I told you guys, be ready for the comedy this morning. JM was on point with it. I love it.
Yeah, man.
I love it. Now, so many cancellations this weekend. Really quick, now that we get, I think honestly, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go the Nevada pick. I think Nevada's going to upset San Jose State at home. It's only a 2-point favor, I think, right here. So, and the over/under set at 59. I think that's safe. We're going to go over. Like Ryan says, it's college football. Nobody plays defense anymore, so we're going to go over on the 59. If anybody's out there, give it my 2 cents. With so many cancellations this weekend, we see 9 or 10 of them, and some really big matchups that are key. Obviously, the one everybody's talking about, guys, is the Michigan-Ohio State cancellation. I'm just going to throw it out there. I think it's BS that they're doing a waiver for Ohio State and not making Ohio State find another game. There's obviously takers out there that would play Ohio State in a game this weekend, and now they're getting a free pass off 4 victories, only 4 games played to go to a championship game. You got a lot of teams out here that are ranked below them, like Florida sitting at 8-1 outside the championships. Sitting at number 6, Florida, and then teams like Miami sitting at 8-1 at the number 10 spot, and they're getting overlooked left and right for playoff opportunities. And now a 4-win team is sitting at the 4th spot in the country. Is this right, guys? Like, give me your 2 cents. Start off with Big Law.
I think it's not right. I don't think it's right because a lot of these teams. Well, number one, the Big Ten, of course, they're going to do what they have to do. They got to go where their bread is buttered. They're not going to not let their best team play in the championships. They're not going to cater to their teams, similar to how some of these other programs have said, okay, we're going to allow you to play no matter what. We're going to, like the NCAA also took off the fact that you got to win 6 bowl games. They're going to get the teams in there that they want to get in, just kind of take all those restrictions off because, they want the views for it. And I don't blame the Big Ten for doing that. They don't want to handicap themselves and not have their best program with Michigan State struggling, Michigan struggling, Penn State in the dumpster. So, yeah, they want to have, their strongest horse up there up front. And they just have to take, when they took those regulations off, it didn't surprise me. I don't agree with it, but it's, it's kind of the year of the 2020 where you're going to get weird things happening. I mean, what do they have? 5 games in total? 4 or 5 games in total? And, they're going to get carte blanche. And, but really, as viewers, and analysts, we're going to see those games. We're going to want to see those. I don't think it's right, but when you're dealing with big money, big colleges, they make their own rules. And, we want to see those games regardless of whatever politics they got to play on the back end for it.
No, and I agree with you. And I think this was a perfect weekend to actually throw in a Mormons Fulham versus Mullet moment, right? Yeah. And you could have had Texas A&M go play up there at Ohio State or Oklahoma. Go play.
They don't want it.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, talk about big game of the week. There's not that many great games on the schedule. No offense to the ones that are on the schedule, but there's no great games on the schedule. You could have thrown that, made it the nightcap on a Saturday night, had all the viewership that you would get from a Big Ten matchup or for the championship game, and made a bunch of dollars, advertising dollars on it here. But they don't take this opportunity. They miss a golden opportunity to have a flex schedule type thing and go get it. So, John, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, so Iowa has a chance to beat Wisconsin at home on Saturday, have 6 wins in the conference, and not make it to the championship game. That's 6-2, 5-0. If everybody wants to get their due, Northwestern will beat Illinois this week and upset Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, and this will all be for naught. So now you're going to have everybody rooting. Pretty much, if you're not a Buckeyes fan, everybody else will be rooting against the Buckeyes because they'll think that's the wrong way to go. So good luck on that. Because now you're going to get Northwestern, which they haven't played this year. This isn't a rematch, game against somebody, Ohio State has already whipped. This is Northwestern now with a chance to rebound from their Michigan State loss. And if you rebound here and get a win over Ohio State in the championship, you're on your way to the Rose Bowl. So Ohio State's not going to have a, kind of just a walkover game next, on the 19th against Northwestern. the team it's unfair to is Iowa, but you did have 2 losses. So the rule is the rule. I understand changing it. You're already changed everything else, the start of the games, the schedule. You kind of put all this in place to begin with. I think what they should have done earlier is when the Pac-12 and the Big Ten were going to start up, they should have just put that rule in there to say, the requirement is you have as many games in the Big Ten, and if you were to lose a game, you're required at least to get to, an equal number of total games. And then they could have filled in the way that, the Pac-12 has done a lot of things wrong, but they've done a lot of things right because they were able to manipulate early in their schedule to get as many new games on the docket as possible and not just call certain weekends a wash.
Right. I think, like you said, starting a little later, we're seeing the Pac-12, get their games going and things start happening a little bit more, even though we do have a Washington-Oregon cancellation today or for Saturday. And, I just think, honest to God, if this was Iowa that was at 5 wins and they wanted the waiver, I don't know if we get it. The only reason we're getting it is because it's Ohio State. It's the fan base. It's if they don't get in, everybody starts crying about them not getting in. But again, how creative was Ohio State about getting the games, scheduled when they got canceled? You and I talked about it Wednesday. Georgia's, AD was crying about, missing games and, other programs not handling their business to be sure they can line up. And what did you say? You got to, win the games that you do get lined up. Well, here's a situation. Here's a situation where you got the Mullets versus the Mormons last week, scheduled on like a Wednesday, and they pulled off a game, and here they go. Kudos to BYU even more for taking on these games and getting ready for these games last minute, but at least finding games to play. Here's a situation where Ohio State could find a game to play this weekend if they really wanted to. They knew Michigan canceled this like on Monday. They could have gotten creative and went and did it, but they're like, nah, we're going to get what we want anyways, which is a free pass to the game. We're not going to invite anybody in and try to earn it. We're just going to get our free pass and keep it moving. And like you said, Joe, they're going to have 2 weeks.
We could have tried to do a GoFundMe and throw the University of Troy $100,000 and let the Chanticleers go on the road this week. And go play Ohio State. I mean, come on. We could have just let the Chanticleers have a shot here.
Right. There's so many ways to get it done, but they didn't. And they got their free pass. And to me, it's just an elitist mentality, which is almost crippling Ohio State because now, again, they're going to get in. Everybody's going to be like, and people like me, I'm going to complain about it because you know what? I don't think it's fair, especially when you have all these other great teams that are sitting there playing full schedules, finding ways to play additional teams. You got BYU now with a loss, but again, kudos to them for trying to find games, give their players opportunities, and give the fans opportunities to watch them against really good competition.
The one thing that will happen for that game next week is you will have a huge Northwestern following for the Big Ten because it'll be Ohio State and their fans, and literally the rest of the country will be rooting for Northwestern to knock them out.
That's right.
You have made that game creatively interesting because of the factor that now everybody but Ohio State will want Northwestern to end their season.
Yeah, I'm with you, John. I'm with you 100%.
Here's the interesting one is if that were to happen, watch how fast Ohio State doesn't play in a bowl game.
Oh, you're saying they'll just cancel the rest of the season. They'll just be like, yeah, we're done for the year.
Because they're in it for what they're in it for. And once you remove that big, pot at the end of the rainbow, I'm not saying that this is the same, but Boston College already was the first team, to turn down the bowl game, yesterday. And I think some of these teams are going to be like, all right, we did what we did. That's enough. There's no fanfare. We don't want to put out the money that needs to be put out for a bowl game. There's not enough reason to risk going. Let's kind of get our campus in order. And the other part is what you just mentioned. A lot of these, campuses and stuff transitioning into basketball. If you made your football money, good, get out of the way. Don't have no more keg parties. stay out of the way and let us get some basketball money that we need. It will not be surprising if Boston College is far from, the last team. I mean, and look, good idea by LSU. Hey, let's ban ourselves from a year where there's no bowl games and we're not going to one. Good on you. Smart move.
Yeah, I thought that was so clever. I was like, you're not going to one anyway, so why not ban it?
Hey, the FYI, we are no longer a national championship contender, according to us. Well, in your records.
It's our choice.
It's our choice. We're not going to go to the game. Hey, Dave, we're not coming to your game that you're not inviting us to. Take that.
We're not going to go to the party we were invited to anyways, but it's our choice. We didn't want to go. We're the pretty girl who didn't want to go to the party anyways.
That's right.
No, that was great, John.
We preemptively struck. Okay.
I am not taking that interview I've not been offered for the Falcons GM job.
Exactly.
Yeah, your choice, John. Your choice. Yeah, your choice.
I'm not going.
That's right.
I'm not going to the invite
that you haven't sent yet.
Yeah.
Breaking news here this morning, y'all. John Murphy is not going to interview for the Atlanta job that he was not invited to interview for because it's his choice. Breaking news, everybody. You heard it here first.
I have picks to make.
Yeah, he's got loyalty to the show here. You heard him. No Atlanta Falcons GM job for John Murphy. He's staying put. He's right here. He's committed to this show like we all are, baby. He's staying in his seat. We gotta love that kind of commitment right there. That loyalty is just unbelievable, John. Unbelievable.
That's right.
So yeah, that's fun. I mean, tomorrow we'll pick up on this a little bit because I want to see if more teams self quarantine on goals.
On a side note, Cal McNair.
Yeah. But the Texans, I'll take your job. Give me a holler. I love your quarterback situation. Let me get down there and make it happen with Deshaun Watson. Love it, John. Picking those. I'm one that Detroit Lions, you got to call. Give me a call because you still got a quarterback good for 3 years. Gives me 3 years to shop around and develop one underneath him. So let's go. I'm all about Matthew Stafford still. We'll get down that rabbit hole maybe tomorrow a little bit. But moving on to the picks here, guys. Let's jump into this right away. We got plenty of them to go. Big Law, throwing it your way in the Carolina move, baby. I want to see, I'm not going to talk about basketball with the Tar Heels. I'm going to talk about number 17 taking on number 10. Quietly moved up to number 10 at 8-1. Miami, I think they're the very underhyped U this year. Nobody's really talking about them. They fought their way to 8-1. They're sitting at the 10 spot, trying to break into it. They're favored by 3 points over the Carolina Tar Heels. Sorry. What do you got here on this one, Big Law?
I got a siren for everyone.
Ooh!
Oh my goodness.
Wake up siren. No, that ain't a wake up siren. That is an upset siren. We're here.
Hey, I got to call it right now, brother. I'm looking at it right now as almost, it's like 3 points, a favorite for the home team. Really, that's an even game on a neutral field. And the reason why I'm calling it neutral right now, and I really look at both of these teams. Miami plays, the fast break kind of an offense. Sam Howell, they have this high-powered, high-piston engine, a strong piston engine that they got going at Carolina. Carolina's loaded with talent all over the field. Javonte Williams leads the league, or leads the country in broken tackles. Michael Williams, another 2 pro running backs they have there. Daz Newsome, Damani Brown, and the O-line. I just don't see Miami stopping them. Miami is a really good team. I think that the difference is, I think that the offense is kind of what's bringing them along. I don't think the defense is as good as you would usually think a Miami team. When you think defense, they usually have, like Alabama or Georgia, there's just talent. They still have the talent, but I don't think that's what's really pushing them. I think that Derek King is the reason why this team is where it's at. And I don't think that they have enough firepower. That's what it's going to come down to, the firepower of what Carolina can do against them. I just don't see, them having enough horses to stop them. I mean, I know that what we got here, Cameron Harris, the running back, 621 yards a year. for this year and 8 touchdowns. I don't necessarily think that that's enough of a running game, to slow down. You got to be able to run the ball, slow down Carolina, keep them off the field, similar to what UVA did to them. Miami plays just as fast or faster than what they do. If you get a couple 3-and-outs, a few 3-and-outs in the game, that right there is going to doom you against the Carolina squad. Because you're putting that offense back on the field, and they can put up points like anybody else in this country. So I know that they're going to put a good front up in front of the home team, but I don't think Jalen Phillips, he has 6.5 sacks, has enough juice to get past that good offensive line. And of course, Bubba Bolden with 52 sacks, the safety, is going to have enough help back there in the defensive backfield to stop the UNC Tar Heels, okay, from the upset, all right, down in South Beach.
I don't know about that. We are talking about the U, baby.
Yeah.
The U. We're bringing the U. You say they don't have enough firepower. It's the U. I think Michael Irvin and the crew from the U will have a problem with you saying they don't have enough firepower. This is a team that I really like. I like the U. I've liked them all year. I think DeAndre King is a guy that, outside what we hear in John, like around the 6th, 7th round, maybe even a pickup, for some teams at quarterback. He's an overall great athlete. The U is young, I believe, on defense, so I think some of those guys are going to be coming into the mix, and they are going to be putting pressure on this UNC offense. It's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be better than I think people expect, and I think Vegas recognizes that with the -3 only on the line here, and the over-under sitting at 67.5. Again, we're safe to call it over and see this shootout go. UNC's quarterback, like you said, Big Law, he's special. The running backs there are special. I think all of them are pro prospects, top 200 type players, and it's going to be fun to watch this lineup. I think it's got very little fanfare. It should have more. If you're a football fan, tune in, watch it. Pay attention, because this is one that is going to not disappoint. Moving on, though, Big JM, we're going to go with the Wisco Badgers playing number 16 Iowa. Iowa's at home, +2, and the points here, though, oh my goodness, only 41.5. Wait, are the offense not showing up here?
Well, in Wisconsin's case, the offense hasn't shown up, pretty much, since they social distanced themselves from their schedule. 13 points in their last 2 outings. They are playing a freshman quarterback. That has a little bit to do with it. They don't really have that running back just yet. A lot of young guys in their backfield. They've played good defense at times. This is all about how 2 programs really mimic each other, right? When Kirk Ferentz went to Iowa, he built that program in the mold of what, Wisconsin has done. So what do you have? A quarterback that doesn't get sacked, doesn't turn the ball over. Tyler Goodson, amongst the best running backs, in terms of statistics in the Big Ten. Their leading receiver, Sam Laporte, tight end, good, not a big yak guy, but a guy that makes the catch, gets first downs, moves the sticks. And then up front, Davian Nixon, who, where's he from? Kenosha. Only playing against Wisconsin. So their own guy that they probably lost in a recruiting battle, to Iowa. And their front four, has quietly achieved and done as well as most or any of the front fours, in the Big Ten. They're 15 plus sacks, in their, starting group. And as a junior, he's big 6'3", 305-pound guy, very athletic for his size, has 5.5 sacks. He's a kid that started to make some noise on their defensive line. Again, Iowa now knowing that they kind of got shut out of the opportunity to win this game and go on next week to play Northwestern. Wisconsin's 2-2, not having played a lot of football. I think the difference between a team that's played 8 games and knew they had something to play for this week versus a Wisconsin team that's trying to figure themselves out after that long layoff, after being without a freshman quarterback. Yeah, I think that, this is an easy spot here, for Iowa to kind of, close off their season, have a shot at playing in a bowl game if they want. But I think, we just seen the last couple of weeks, Wisconsin not ready offensively in their last couple of games. And what Iowa doesn't give you is they're not giving you turnovers. They don't give up sacks, and they're keeping all the plays in front of them defensively. Yeah, I think this is a relatively easy win, for Iowa. Now it's in the Big Ten, so easy win means, you win by 6. Nobody scores, but the under is kind of interesting because I think Iowa can score, some points into the 20s, and you give Wisconsin just then has to show up at 17, but they haven't shown up anywhere near that in the last couple of weeks. So that 41 I might stay away from it because it could be a tricky last minute or last 5 minutes could kind of get you on that 41. But I'll take Iowa in this one and stay away from the over-under.
Hey, I like you. I like that pick, and I like that. Really like what you're saying about that because you're right. Wisco's offense has been lacking the last few weeks. They're very disappointed in their game a week ago, and their offense. That offensive line should be a lot more dominant than when it's showing. For as big as they are, having Stokey, my favorite fullback, in the backfield, opening up lanes and stuff for him. So I like what you have to say there about staying away from the over-under. It's just amazing to see one set so low, especially with this next game coming up here, Big Law. LSU at only 3 wins versus Florida, number 6, 8-1, minus 23 at home, and the over-under set at 68.5. I mean, that is just like, again, is there any defense being played down here? The disrespect for the Florida Gators defense is strong in the last few weeks. I mean, you see these point totals high. Everybody's believing that Florida is going to blow out LSU, but they don't think that the Gator defense is going to help it in any way.
Yeah, I understand why they're doing that. I really think that there's something missing with the Florida Gators, and I mean their defense. I mean they have talent, whether or not they're living up. The defense lives up to that 8-1 reputation is another story because the offense is what brings that offense is what is the engine that pulls that train. Of course, you're in the SEC, which the coaches are just as popular as the players. This is Dan Mullen, who I heard is getting some consideration for the pros against my man Ed Ogeron, who is pretty much going through his toughest year at LSU after winning the national championship. And, of course, we just talked about the self-imposed ban. I'm not going to something that you didn't invite me to, which is kind of hilarious. But, the kind of year that they're having, I see why they did it. Out of 127 teams, that are passing defenses, they're 125. So there's only 2 teams that are worse than them in passing defense in the nation. Something you would never see out of an LSU program who has steadily put defensive backs into the league with just ferocity. They just keep shelling out defensive backs, cornerbacks, safeties from all over, and for them to have this bad of a passing defense is really unheard of. And LSU is always the same story. They're only really great when they have a quarterback. They have talent, but they only really take the next step is when they have a quarterback, that can take them to another level. And of course, with Joe Burrow leaving, it seems like they have fallen, but they've fallen really hard at a 3-5 record, which no one really predicted that of them. But now let's get to Florida. Florida 8-1, knocking on the New Year's 6, knocking on the door of the New Year's 6 bowls. They should get it, especially with the win on Saturday. And you never know, based on what happens. I mean, they're going to play Alabama in that SEC championship game. If they can, I'm not saying they're going to beat Alabama. I don't think they will. But if they can pull off an upset against them, you never know. They may get a shot, to play in that playoff. And that's what they're looking at. That's what they got their eyes on. But Kyle Trask, all right, the kid's amazing. 3,200 yards passing, over 3,200 yards, 38 TDs, 3 interceptions, all right? The kid's a first, second-rounder type talent. I'm looking forward to seeing how he measures out. I'm not sure. You guys can probably fill me in on this, how they'll do, if they'll do pro days, if, the combine will go off based on what we got going on with COVID. But I want to see how he does and some of these workouts coming up. Already looking towards the off season, but we can't leave out another player who will go probably in the top 10 or somewhere there. Kyle Pitts, okay, the tight end who is pretty much uncoverable. He's perfectly cut out for the way that the offenses are ran in the pros right now. The guy, slender wide receiver type body, but still he's 6'6", 250 pounds. So the guy can move like a receiver, catches like a receiver, and he has the frame to put on some weight. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how many catches. He's gaining more momentum as well. Had 11 catches last week. Week before that, he had 9. So, but he has 11 TDs. All he does is catch touchdowns. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how this how this all falls together. But like I said, Florida was going to destroy LSU, and then look forward to that collision with Alabama in the SEC championship game.
Well, if everybody's talking down the Florida defense so bad, which Ryan Roberts is in the chat room talking trash about it, because that's what Ryan does, say in the background, talk trash. Tomorrow when we get him on the show, I'll call him out once he's here. But for me, I think if Florida has any chance against Alabama, if they want to gain the respect that they're calling for, they need to stop a team on defense. They need that defense to step up and match the effort that they do get consistently from this offense. And
Right.
One player that to me is a difference maker that a lot of people, they talk about him, but they don't give enough credit of why the offense on Florida is doing so well is Tony. Tony is a very impressive Percy Harvin type wide receiver, can do it all, is a kick returner, punt returner. He can make a difference on that aspect of the game, as well as when you get the ball in his hands, he knows what to do with it on quick screens out in the open field. He's really an impressive young receiver, overshadowed by Pitts because, like you said, Pitts is probably a top 10 pick, maybe even a top 7 pick type player there. I see Trask a little differently than John and everybody here at Draft Bible. I like Trask in the first round. I think he could go to the right system and be a great quarterback in the NFL because, to me, those touch passes, that accuracy that you see is something that is rare. You don't see the footwork like this young man has all the time with kids coming out of college. He's got, he might not have the strongest arm and the arm talent in the world that everybody is talking about, like a strong, but I think what he does have is a special, you got a special package, footwork, accuracy, touch. That's all stuff that fits in certain systems that we see in the NFL nowadays.
Yeah, my philosophy on that is a player either is accurate or is not. I mean, you can develop better accuracy, but accuracy is like innate. If you're inaccurate, it's like a pitcher. If a guy is a flamethrower and he has no location, he's good just for getting it over the plate, and scaring people. But a pitcher, those guys are hard to find. And if you find somebody who has like great accuracy, it's innate, and they're always going to be accurate, regardless if their arm is a howitzer or it's a noodle arm. Accuracy is forever.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And again, the way he moves his feet in the pocket, it's something that I'm always big on, no matter what position. His footwork and base stability and balance and control, and his balance and body work, lower body work is it's NFL quality already.
Mm-hmm.
But moving forward here, let's get out west here, JM. Let's talk a little bit about the Battle of LA. We got number 15 USC undefeated at 4-0, which nobody's talking about a playoff berth for USC at 4-0. But why not? They beat UCLA 3-2. They're going to have the same record as Ohio State out here. You got a point over under at 62. But if let me add this little nuance to this, John. If Chip Kelly doesn't beat USC, do we see Chip Kelly get the door? Do we see him get the door? Because now he's 3-3 on this season, and he hasn't done much at UCLA. Does he get the door?
Yeah, I mean, and this is really interesting because the dynamic of this game is now like they're two polar opposite clubs. You have USC undefeated, and it's all on Kendall Slovis. He won the quarterback job, knocked JT Daniels, and others out. But, his two main competitors, one's now at Boise State and the other one's at Georgia. So clearly he won that job, and rewarding them with the factor that he's really number 1 or number 2 in every passing category that you care about, in the Pac-12. They're a passing team. Their leading rusher has about 200 yards total in their 4 wins. And UCLA is one of the best running teams in the country. 230 yards a game on the ground, and passing kind of when they need to, But to me, so far what UCLA has proven is the leftover teams they can beat. They lost a close one to Colorado, but they were down significantly early in that game, and they had no answer, for their other game against a ranked team. To me, USC should win this game. It'll be interesting to see. Neither one of them has done a great job of stopping the run, and like I said, UCLA, has run the ball extremely, extremely well. 227, on the ground. Their leading rusher, in there is Demetric Fulton. He has close to 600 yards. That's more rushing yards alone by himself than USC has as a team. So, it's a definite contrast. It's very interesting that he came in there as Chip Kelly, coming from the NFL. The spread's going to work. The tempo's going to work. Well, now you're running the ball for 230 yards a game. So you have a little different stylistic approach here. I think that what you can't see if you're UCLA is another blowout. If it's a blowout, you have to really start thinking about what you're doing. If you see improvement, there's a chance you might stick with it at 3-3 after a COVID year. You made a comeback when you're down against Colorado. You swept Arizona. You beat Cal. I don't know. I think that at that point, what you have invested in Chip Kelly, unless you're going off the range there and hiring a much younger coach and not having to spend a lot of money, I'm not sure he'll get ridden out of town unless it's just a disaster of epic proportions again tomorrow, which I don't see that happening. They're tough. They're playing tough and physical. That should lead to a longer game against USC. And what UCLA could do if you're looking for how do you get UCLA in an upset, hold the football, run the clock, be more physical, set that tone early in the game. And then there's a chance, if you turn them into a one-dimensional team. Well, USC has been a one-dimensional team, so if you make them just be a pass-only club, that could get you a 4-quarter game and a route to how UCLA could win this. I think USC has enough talent, that it's probably something along the lines of 31-21 by the time we're done.
Oh, so you're going 31-21. That's an under because the game here, they got the over set at 62. They see this being some kind of a shootout here because it's only plus 2.5 for UCLA. Vegas is seeing this as like a really close game, but over scoring at 62. I do like the running game that UCLA has. That running back, it really does. Their winning goes through him. If they ball control, keep the USC offense on the bench and on the sidelines, I do believe that this was a rare chance we might see the under, just because the way UCLA has to win is through the running game and not giving USC's offense much time on the field. I mean, USC has great 3 receivers. I think the quarterback, like you said, is one of our heartthrobs for the 2022 draft class. So, I think this is a kid that is raising a lot of eyebrows with his arm talent out west. Let's wrap up our college football segment here, though, Big Law, and stay out where you are. Big rivalry game, UVA versus the Hokies of Virginia Tech, 5-4, 4-6. This is for all the marbles in Virginia, baby. What do you got?
First of all, let me tell you, this is a big this is a big football week for the Mid-Atlantic, because let's not forget about Army and Navy. All right, there's an Army-Navy game being played this weekend as well, except one thing's cool about it, it's going to be played in West Point up in Army for the first time in 77 years because of COVID. So usually, they play down in Annapolis, but they're going to play at West Point. And another thing that's really cool about it, if you can check out the uniforms that these two teams are going to wear, they're absolutely amazing. All right, just go online, look at these uniforms this team's got, and check the game out because I'm going to watch that game as well. Always looking forward to the Army-Navy game. Being that we're down here in Hampton Roads, we're a Navy town, so we're going to root for the Navy. Well, we're a military town, so it's always kind of a pull and push out here for that. But let's get to what I'm here for. UVA, okay? UVA against Tech, okay? This is the biggest game of the year for the state. Of course, Virginia Tech had ruled this rivalry, if you want to call it a rivalry, for 15 years straight. And Virginia broke the curse last year, winning it at home at Scott Stadium and pretty much exercising all the demons that UVA has had against this squad. Now, with Virginia Tech having the issues that they've had, remember Bud Foster? Remember that guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That guy was, really the backbone of that program. I get it. Beamer ball, special teams. But the reason why that team was as good as it was for all those years, it was because of the defense and the way that he played the defense in the ACC. I can't tell you how much, and I know they're really missing Bud. Should they have given Bud the job? That's the real question. So, at one point in time, so that they can continue the lineage. Because right now, Virginia Tech has the worst defense, okay, or the second worst defense in the conference. All right, they're giving up so many yards, in the air, on the ground. It doesn't matter. It's not a Virginia Tech team that you would think of. One thing that does remind you of a Virginia Tech team is they do run the ball. Khalil Herbert is over 1,000 yards, 7 TDs. The guy is a workhorse. He's also a big play threat. And then you also have Tavion Robinson, a local kid from here, and Trey Turner. So they have some weapons on the offensive end, along with Herndon Hooker, which it was an odd situation last week. He got pulled for conditions. Like, I believe the coach said he was cold, or I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard. Yeah, it was something. Oh, he was. The conditions is the reason why they pulled him. He was uncomfortable, which I've never really heard that in a football game or a high-end football game, professional or college Division I. So whatever it is, I think Herndon's going to be back in there. Herndon Hooker, I don't know how well he's going to do, but you better be ready because the Wahoos are coming, and they're coming strong. These two teams are on different trajectories. The Wahoos have won 4 in a row, and they're ready to continue their own streak against Virginia Tech, and they're going to see if they can win in Virginia Tech the first time since 1989. Brennan Armstrong had a great game last week, ran for over 100 yards, threw for over 200 yards, but that's not even half the answers. You got Lavelle Evans, 6'7". We're going to have to put him on the draft board. We're going to put him on the watch list. 6'7", reminds me of Plexico Burris. The way that he moves. The kid can beat you deep. He showed that, and he also can naturally post you up and play the possession game as well. He's always open with that catch radius. Not to mention Tony Poljan, another pro prospect, got invited to the Senior Bowl, 6'7", tight end, used to be at Central Michigan, doing a good job over the middle at UVA, and he's blocking pretty decently. Then you got Billy Kemp, one of the top 3 receivers in the ACC as well. A small slot guy, gets the job done. Then you got the transfer Shane Simpson from Townsend, doing a heck of a job for them as well, giving them a lot of versatility. I don't think this game is going to be close. I know that usually this game plays tough, kind of like the Cowboys and the team from Washington. They always really, no matter who's playing it, they typically would play tough. But I think that UVA is going to beat these guys by at least 2 touchdowns, if not 3. I'm just looking for, if you remember, Tech postponed this game. It's almost like I call it the Florida State syndrome. They don't want this. They don't want the smoke. Okay. And I'm just thinking that UVA is coming there. This is their this will be like their bowl game. From what I hear up there in Charlottesville, Bronco Mendenhall, and he's going to leave it up to the kids. I don't think they may not go to a bowl game this year because of COVID, and the fans and some of the other people who are wanting these guys, these young men and these coaches to go to another bowl game. They've sacrificed a lot. They've been in quarantine since the summer, and they may not, want to do a bowl game. And I agree, whatever they want to do, so they may treat this like their bowl game. But I'm looking at the Wahoos by at least 2 touchdowns.
Big win for the Wahoos on the books. You heard it here first. Big Laws calling it right out for them. I think, thanks for bringing up the Army-Navy game. That was something I slipped on. I am wearing my camo hat and everything today for it. And those uniforms, you're right. They are something to go gander at because, those boys are going to be looking like damper dawns out on the field.
Thanks UVA for turning down the chance to go to the Meineke Car Care Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not going because I my
make that another make the sacrifice for the greater good. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, listening to our show this morning.
I guarantee you they're not turning down the Sugar Bowl if they get offered.
Ain't no doubt about that now.
Okay, yeah. So let's just keep it in perspective. They're turning down driving 2.5 hours to the Meineke Car Care Bowl, and everybody gets a tire pressure gauge as your present.
That's right.
Okay, your gift is that you can get your 4 tires from any
rotation and balance. Rotation and balance.
Rotate balance, free air check coming your way if you go to the bowl. Yeah.
All the parents who take the ride up there and aren't allowed to go in the game and watch their kids play, you can go get your tires changed while you're watching your bowl game.
Yeah, we'll have the blowout screens in the parking lot ready to go for you.
Yeah.
Hey, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Go to the New Orleans Bowl.
Yeah. Let's switch gears a little bit, get into some pro football really quick. You guys want to hear more about college football? Tune into our Saturday morning show. Big Law will be back for that. Ryan Roberts will be in the house, and of course, JM, myself, will be here tomorrow morning. The kickoff college football show here at 10 a.m. Eastern for the Draft Bible. But now let's kick into the gear. Let's go to the pros. Saw a great game last night. We got some more great games coming up. We have Arizona versus the first place New York Giants, JM. What are you seeing out of this game?
This is huge for both sides. The Giants coming home after winning that game on the road in Seattle with very little offense, but just enough because Seattle had no offense, amazingly, last week. And now we've seen Arizona, starting to struggle with their offense, but more importantly, I'm not sure we know the real health status there of Kyler Murray.
I agree with you. A few weeks ago when that shoulder got hurt, he's only run the ball less than a dozen times since in the last 2 or 3 games. He's run the ball 9 times, whereas before that he was like one of the leading rushers in the league.
Yep. And that's a very interesting scenario, to say, what has happened there in that period of time. 3 games in a row, that they've had a problem, with things, multiple times, there's turnovers and opportunities there that they're just not taking advantage of the way they did early. Trending on the other side, the Giants, have all of a sudden figured out a way to get better pressure, create some turnovers. And now the other thing they've done quietly is that they're rushing for over 125 yards on a regular basis. And what does Arizona not do as well as some of the other things they do better is they're, against, rushing, they give up some yards on the ground defensively. That has been the case. We mentioned when Chandler Jones went down over the course of the season, that could be, start becoming an issue there. I do like the matchup. I don't think that, the matchup there with Bradbury against, Hopkins, no one's going to have a great day against Hopkins, but I think it's able to keep him contained enough that if what's going on with what we see with Kyler Murray is true, and there is a bit of a funk with an injury and some of the, things he may not be able to do right now, you'll find out about it for sure this week. Because, yes, it's the Giants, but it's either going to be for sure that there's something wrong, or he comes back out, breaks that trend, and gets them and keeps them in contention. I think there's something up there injury-wise, and more importantly, I know I'm eating it. I know I'm buying the popcorn. I know I'm taking it, and going for the ride here. These guys have played better football outside of a handful of games for Joe Judge. They just went on that road trip. Now they're at home with another winnable game. I got the Giants winning at home.
Not a boy. Picking my G-man. That's what I like to hear.
They're tough.
I'm with
They're
you,
tough.
Murph. Hey, Murph, I know Rick, the RIC, is, he was on Arizona early, and now, I think Arizona's come to reality with Kyler. You're right. I don't think we know the full extent of this injury that Kyler has. I think, they're not really talking what's going on with it because it makes no sense. Their whole offensive philosophy has changed, without running this kid, and defenses are keeping him in the pocket, and you're seeing a little bit of kryptonite for him because he can't move around as well. He's not taking as many chances with his legs as what made him a difference maker early in the season and made this offense so hard to defend. But Joe Judge does have these guys balling out of control at the Giants. They've been in every ball game except for like two. The rest of them, they've been the last drive type, wins. They're fighting hard there. So I'm with you. I think the G-Men take this one at home. Arizona's got to get Kyler Murray healthy and going before that. They're going to be up and running again. But, another big game, big law we're talking about. You got the Indianapolis Colts matching against the Raiders of Las Vegas. Here's a matchup that has a lot of playoff potential, a lot of playoff marbles weighing on it this weekend. What do you see coming out of this game here?
Well, the Raiders, who are 7-5, should be 6-6 if it wasn't for a boneheaded call from Greg Williams, who lost his job, and then not to mention Henry Ruggs. All right, leaving him one-on-one. Okay, with
a rookie undrafted corner.
Undrafted corner with no safety help over top. Yeah. So you get what you pay for. Okay. So with that being said, I'm thinking Indianapolis is going to come in there. And I said maybe 4 or 5 shows ago, I talked about how Phillip Rivers, he's a slow mover. And then by the end of the season, he's playing his best football. All right. And he has T.Y. Hilton back. I'm looking forward to seeing how Indianapolis is going to dismantle the Raiders. I think the Raiders at this point, they're kind of just hanging on right now. They still have a division game or two left, and that's going to pretty much do them in. But they squeaked by the Jets, all right? And I think that I get it. Waller is an incredible tight end. He's going to put up some numbers. Jacobs is a really good running back. His numbers don't necessarily show how good he is, but I don't think that Derek Carr is going to get them past Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. I know that Jonathan Taylor's starting to come on a little bit. He has 9 rushing touchdowns for the Colts. Phillip Rivers has thrown for over 3,200 yards, 18 touchdowns, 9 ints, which is a steady season for a professional quarterback at this stage of the year. So I'm just looking for him to continue on doing this Phillip Rivers thing, and he's hungry right now at 8-4. He hasn't been 8-4 in a long time at this late in the season with an opportunity to get to 12 wins. I think that he's ready to go, and he has some help with some of the, with the defense that the Colts have, and also some offensive weapons that are starting to get healthy and starting to get into rhythm.
Yeah, I think the Colts, Phillips battling the foot injury. I heard he's going to need surgery after the season on whatever's going on in that foot, but you're right.
He's always hurt.
He's always banged up. He always finds a way to win and compete. He's a heck of a competitor. He's tough as nails. I mean, this is a guy who's, like you said, Big Law, he ain't been 8-3 or 8-4 in a long time this late in the season. He's got a 4-game stretch where if they handle their business and at least go 3-1 with it, these guys might even end up top seed. You don't know what's gonna happen in Pittsburgh right now. Kansas City looks like they're hitting on all cylinders, but they got some tough games here at the end. They literally could drop 2, and then it becomes an interesting race for that top seed in the AFC, the 1 bye week, which obviously Indianapolis can use because, like you said, they're banged up, they're beat up, but they are competing really well here. Lately, last few weeks, they've really looked like a solid Colts team that's going to take, peaking at the right time, getting healthy at the right time to enter into the playoffs. But you know what? I'm with you. I like my Colts. I picked them early to be a team, and now I'm seeing them develop into that team, and I'm loving it. I'm loving that. I'm loving it. So, but staying in the AFC though, what's going? What do we see? I mean, the Buffalo Bill, Ralph's Buffalo Bills are hitting stride here. You know, his heartthrob. And Allen, the quarterback. I mean, if we had Rob Gentry on this morning, he would be all over this. He would be like, "Oh my God!" I mean, I can't believe he's not going to have his Bills jersey on, ready to go against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are seeming to come back to reality early in the year. Most balanced team in the league. Now they are struggling. Obviously, lost their first game the other day. What do you see coming out of Buffalo Pitt this weekend?
Well, let's talk about Pitt at first. All right. Pittsburgh, 11-1, lost to a team from up this way with no name. All right, if you watch the Game of Thrones, you'll know something about one of the characters who always says a team has no or a person has no name. Well, this is the team that has no name, and the team was Washington. Washington did a hell of a job following the blueprint that the Ravens set up for them. All right, and they executed it, and they did a great job. The thing about it is, you know, Ben Roethlisberger gets rid of the ball in 2.2 seconds. All right, quickest in the league. So if you got that going on, that means you're going to have to get your hands up. You got to have long guys at the point of attack to stop, you know, those balls going out in the passing lanes. And they had that, and it showed at the end of the game that Montez Sweat was just timing, waiting for it, made the proper play, interception, game over. So I get it. The Pittsburgh Steelers have an incredible young receiving core. Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. Big Ben has reloaded, you know, with receivers, and I got to give their recruiting or excuse me, their receiving, their coaching, you know, for them the all the respect, because they always find receivers from all over and they always produce. So great job, you know, for the Steelers, for their lineage of receivers that they keep picking, and it don't have to be like a number one pick, and they always have done well. But I don't see the Steelers pulling this out against Josh Allen. I said it before. The guy can throw a strawberry through a battleship. He has a howitzer. Okay, he's amazing. He's a, you know, I think that, you know, he's worked on his accuracy. Obviously, accuracy was an issue. And sometimes you get that with guys with strong arms, and sometimes the accuracy isn't always there. They rely on their arm to make some difficult throws, and it always doesn't work, especially when you get to the professional level. But Josh Allen looks really good this year. He's also ran for over 350 yards this year, which also gives defenses fits. Okay, not to mention he's a Sasquatch back there. And, you know, when you try to bring this guy down, you know, he's going to get the first down. He's got that moxie built into him as well. So I don't see Pittsburgh recovering. I see Buffalo, and they have a tough, steady defense. I think that Buffalo is going to grind them out. I know that, you know, Pittsburgh is trying to recover, and they're going to get the ball out quick, get it to their receivers. And another thing about the Pittsburgh receivers is they do a good job of getting yards after the catch. It's because Ben is getting them the ball so quick in position so they can continue to get some yards after the catch. But I think the defense is good enough to slow them down, but I don't see the Pittsburgh defense, even though TJ Watt's having an incredible year and Minkah Fitzpatrick back there is patrolling pretty well. I don't see them slowing down this Buffalo train, especially they got to go up there and play. And let's say it snows, you know, up there in Buffalo. You know, I think Buffalo is ready to take it to the next level. And just like we said, you know, you have Indy at 8-4, Buffalo's 9-3. They're vying for that number one spot too. They want to get that bye. There's only one bye this year, remember, for the NFL. So Buffalo's looking forward to that as well.
You know, it is dictated. You're right. I just looked at the weather report. There is snow possibilities up there in Buffalo. It's going to be a cold one. It's a late kickoff. It's what is it, a 9 o'clock or whatever kickoff? NBC game of the week, Sunday night game of the week.
And they don't run the ball. Steelers don't run the ball.
And I think Connor might be back this week. I think they said James Conner might be able to come back this week. I'll have to check the injury report tomorrow and to know that. But I think you're right. Buffalo is built for a game like this. They run the ball well. They have great. They just rewarded their GM this morning with a 2-year extension. Beener got a 2-year extension up there for everything he's doing. I think that was a great call, great guy, great idea ownership to keep Beener around because he's a great young GM that's really shown that he can work with your coaching staff, build a good team, and put a winner there in Buffalo for you. One more key matchup before we sign off today, John. We got a key Monday night matchup in the AFC. Baltimore versus Cleveland. The insurging Cleveland Browns. And when is the last time we said that?
Wow.
Has it been a decade or more? Possibly. But I'm saying the insurging Cleveland Browns looking like unstoppable Browns, hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Can Baker stay on this role, or is he going to fall into the trap that he always falls into when playing Lamar, when playing Roethlisberger, when he's playing the elite people inside his division? He's only 1-5. Can he come over that hump this time? Is it time for him to get over that? Tell me, JM. Tell me.
Well, I mean, we know one thing. They're playing at home, so, if you pay attention to Baker Mayfield, it means he'll wake up in the morning at the stadium and get out of bed and be able to be just at home, for it. I think the biggest thing here is that you got to give a lot of credit, to Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff, because the one thing that they've been able to do here is sort of mold him into being the version of Baker Mayfield that they need best to stay and start and be competitive and win these games. So I don't think this will not get out of control for him the way that it did week one, the way that it has at other times in matchups where he tries to be that other Baker Mayfield. That it worked at Oklahoma, but it worked at Oklahoma because you were playing Kansas. This isn't those matchups, when you're in the NFL. There's not too many Kansas on your schedule on a weekly basis because you don't play the Jets. So in this scenario, I think controlling Mayfield is by that ground game. You have a 1-2 punch. You've seen it work. Then play action is working. Then the addition of Hooper has started to work. I see an opportunity here for a balanced Cleveland team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to then be able to limit what Baltimore is doing. And if you make them one-dimensional in this game, I got a feeling the Browns can come out of this with what to date would probably be their biggest win to make up for what happened week one. And now let's see where these two teams are at, because you would not have projected from what you saw week one that the Ravens were then going to struggle most of the rest of the season, and that the Browns were only going to have 2 more losses. So, in this scenario, the Browns defense has played exceptionally well, and especially at home, teams are under an average 20, under 20 a game scoring against the Browns at home. The Ravens are pretty much now still in that one-dimensional pattern. Of course, we saw some things against the Cowboys, but again, you don't get to play Kansas every week. Sometimes you get to play, you're playing other people and other teams. Yeah, the best player on defense on the field at the moment, is Myles Garrett. Between these two clubs, the running games are very similar. It boils down to really the nuts and bolts of this is Cleveland's front on both sides has to go watch that game one, week one, and decide they're not going to play like that a second time against a divisional foe. If that works, I bet it's a lot less of Baker Mayfield, a lot more of Stefanski and controlling the game, and the Browns coming up with what would be their biggest win to date.
And I am with you. I think Stefanski is honestly in the conversation for Coach of the Year, what he's doing there with these teams. I mean, everybody's going to say, well, look at the talent he has. He's had a lot of injuries. He's had some adversity he's had to deal with. He's kept these guys. And last week, I don't know if there was a better game plan ever devised by a coach. When you watch how open these receivers are, and he was running 1 and 2 receiver combo routes, he wasn't running like flood fives and stuff. He was protecting his quarterback, giving him a clean pocket to step up into, made Baker look like an all-pro quarterback, which, again, I think anybody on this panel is going to agree that he's not. But, I mean, he really is doing a great job. And, Sean, I think what you're saying with the Hunt and Chubb running the ball, I mean, they are built for the playoffs. This is an offense we saw work. I mean, hey, look at what Stefanski did in Minnesota. He made Kirk Cousins look like a real player. He's doing the same thing now with Baker Mayfield. This is a guy that really has good coaching chops. He's able to make the most of his groceries in the cupboard. So this is a guy that I think we're going to be seeing as a nice young coach. You know, I believe what you said, JM, a couple of days ago, is that Cincinnati's got to have their ears up, seeing what's happening in Cleveland, and maybe they got the wrong young coach down there in Cincinnati with their, you know, they had a quarterback throwing over 40 times a game as a rookie, and he finally got hurt. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You got to have a run game. You got to be able to run the ball, especially with young guys. You're seeing a transformation in Baker. The confidence is coming back, everything, because of what Stefanski is doing up there. So I see this as a game that's going to be really interesting. I don't know how Wink Martindale gets that defense going. I think early in the season that defense was vibing, doing really well. Lately, the last 5 games, they've been struggling. The offense for Greg Roman, he's got to figure out a better way to get the ball distributed to the tight ends for Lamar, get the running game going. These are 2 top candidates for coaching opportunities coming up, with Greg Roman and Wink Martindale already interviewed last year for the Giants job. So if they don't get it going, they're going to see their opportunities start to fall by the wayside here late in the season for these opportunities that are going to open up. There's going to be 7 or 8 head coaching jobs open once the season's all said and done. So they got to make the impressions now too. I'm sure they're feeling the pressure here because those windows are short and those opportunities aren't easy to come by. Well, listen up, fellas. That's it. We came through strong. We're gonna have you guys tomorrow. Big Law. Any parting shots to hold them over till we get another dose of you tomorrow morning?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for having me, guys. Also, quick just condolences out to my man Rick Serratelli. We're holding it down. We got you, brother. We're gonna have this good time, keep this thing rolling. But you can also catch me on Woo Radio. I'll be on today. Download the app, Woo Radio. 6 to 7, and other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Looking forward to it.
Big Saturday morning kickoff special, baby. Just waking up early in the morning with us. JM, hit these people with something to remember you by till tomorrow.
Well, we just finished what I like to call candy. NFL picks. I call that candy. 13-3 last week, so can't let up on Rick. Sorry, brother. We'll welcome you back next week. But you're going to be down by 2 touchdowns by the time we get there.
Oh, you know what? We miss you, RIC, but we're never going to let you off the hook here. JM's giving it real. He's got you. He's bringing the lure. He's trying to get you back to the table to eat, baby, because he's full. He's got so much candy. He's got a chocolate mustache going. It's like he was at Willy Wonka's factory back in the day, sipping out of that chocolate flowing river. He's been on you. He's been on you, big RIC. Get back to the table. Make the picks. Make a stretch run here. We love you, kid. We love you. We miss you. Our hearts are heavy for you and your family. But, hey, for all you out there viewing, all the guys in the comment room, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow morning for the kickoff show. Early is a nice 10 Eastern time. Get you ready for all your college game day action here at draftbible.com.